Good afternoon, all. My name is Joanna Arias, and I am a public policy student and Dean's Student Ambassador at the UC Riverside School of Public Policy. I am delighted to welcome you to our inaugural State of the School event for the UCR School of Public Policy. I will be serving as co-host for today's program alongside one of our school's advisory board members and senior policy fellows, former California Assembly member Lloyd Levine.
Thank you, Joanna. I am really excited to be here today. And through the next hour, we're going to spotlight some of the new research and student initiatives that have come out of the School of Public Policy this year. A little bit later, we'll also have some exciting presentations by two of our best and brightest public policy students, as well as a presentation by one of our faculty members whose work as a medical sociologist and population health scientist has been widely covered amid the COVID pandemic. To begin our formal presentation program, I would now like to call upon the founding dean of the UC Riverside School of Public Policy and my friend, Dr. Anil Deolalekar.
Thank you, Lloyd. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the entire UCR School of Public Policy, I'm excited to have you join us on this day of celebration of our school's accomplishments. This is our school's very first State of the School event, and we hope to make this into an annual event to take stock of what we have accomplished in the preceding year and to thank all those that have made these accomplishments possible. Let me start off by emphasizing that despite an extremely challenging year, to say the least, for our students, faculty, and staff, the state of the school is strong. Indeed, stronger than it has ever been. We never strayed from our school's mission to train tomorrow's public policy leaders and to help solve, through research, some of the biggest challenges facing society today, including climate change, income inequality, systemic racism, and even a global pandemic, the likes of which we haven't seen in a century. Despite a very challenging year, we never strayed from our motto, solutions for the region, solutions for the world. Our faculty and students, working from their homes instead of classrooms, overcame the many challenges of remote learning to analyze societal problems at the micro level to come up with policy solutions that have broader relevance to our state, to our nation, and our world. Even though we at the School of Public Policy, UCR School of Public Policy, were far apart because of social distancing and online courses this past year, we stayed connected. Even amid occasional Wi-Fi issues and other technical bumps in the road, we managed to keep the human touch in our interactions, and we remain connected and interconnected School of Public Policy community. I'm honored to be accompanied today by our faculty, students, and staff who have weathered one of the most challenging years in the past 100 years and come out of it stronger than they were before. Kudos to all of you for your perseverance and resilience. Thanks are also in order for the parents and friends of our students. You have provided these aspiring policy, community, and government leaders a backbone of support during tough times. We are excited as well to have our alumni with us today. You may recall my telling you that you can always go home to the UCR School of Public Policy, and that will forever stay true. We are so glad to have you for a homecoming of sorts today. We are really grateful to have such a vibrant alumni community, and we thank you for serving as role models for our current students. I'm thankful as well to UCR Chancellor Kim Wilcox and UCR Provost Elizabeth Watkins for their leadership and for their support of our school. Thank you as well to the SPP Advisory Board members, many of whom are joining us in our audience today. We have one of the most illustrious but also highly engaged advisory boards around, made up of luminaries from across the policy world, including current and past elected officials. We are so grateful for your deep interest and involvement in our school. And thank you to all the benefactors who have supported our students, many of whom faced unique challenges this past year that they may not have been able to overcome without your generosity. We truly appreciate your commitment to our students and their success. We will cover a great deal of information today, but as you listen to our presentation, my hope is that you will see that for such a small and young entity like ours, we have done so much more than might have been thought possible for us. We are small but mighty. I'm proud to say that the state of our school is strong, very strong. And that is something that we all collectively deserve to celebrate. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us. Please enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you, Dean Deolalekar. Those were just so inspiring words and give such confidence to all of us as we look to the future that we weathered the last year so well. And before we transition to the rest of the day and start talking about what the school has accomplished this year, I think it's important that we give some background and context to tell people what makes the UC Riverside School of Public Policy so special, so unique, and so distinct. Our school was established, waiting for the slides to catch up here. There we go. Sorry about that. The school was established in 2012 and is one of only 4 public policy schools in the entire UC system, the others being Berkeley, UCLA, and UC San Diego. We are also the only public policy school in the UC system with a public policy major as an undergrad, making us unique amongst the entire UC campus system. And as of May 2021, our public policy school was ranked among the top 25% of public policy schools in the world by Ideas Research Papers in Economics. We're currently ranked number 42 ahead of Texas A&M and the University of Pennsylvania. That's some heady company. And as of 2021, we are ranked among the 100 best public affairs schools by US News and World Report. We're currently ranked 95th, which is an improvement from last year when we were just outside the top 100 at 101st. For a very young school, less than a decade old, and the smallest school at the UC Riverside campus, we are making great strides, and I am incredibly proud of us.
Now let's go ahead and take a look at the state of our students. First, let's look at our student enrollment numbers. We started the 2020 to 2021 school year with 317 students, a far cry from the 28 that we had in 2015 when we first launched the Master of Public Policy program. We enrolled our largest MPP fall cohort with 32 students. And ever since the public policy major transferred from the College of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences during the 2018 to 2019 school year, we have seen a steady increase in our numbers of undergraduate students. And the future is certainly looking bright. Though we are still recruiting for the next school year, our undergraduate numbers are higher in comparison to the same time last year. Thank you to our graduate and undergraduate academic advisors for all of your work. UCR as a university is proud of its commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. In keeping with that, our MPP program is one of the most diverse graduate programs on campus. For the 2020 to 2021 school year, 67% of our MPP students were female, compared to the 53% for the average across all UCR colleges and schools. We were ranked second highest college or school on campus in terms of percentage of female graduate students. Additionally, 67% of our MPP students were underrepresented minorities, compared to the 33% for the UCR average. We were ranked the top ranked college or school in terms of percentage of underrepresented minorities And we had 43% female and underrepresented minorities compared to the UCR average of 20%. Now, looking on the undergraduate side, the SPP also ranks highly in terms of diversity. For the 2020 to 2021 school year, 61% of our undergraduate students were female, and 52% were underrepresented minorities, and 54% were first-generation college students. Not only that, but we ranked highly in terms of diversity in comparison to other colleges and schools on campus, surpassing the UCR average on several metrics. Indeed, we are so excited to usher forth into the world these diverse public policy students who will one day be the diverse future leaders of our region and beyond. Now, just a few weeks ago on June 13th, we celebrated the graduation of our own public policy students. Here is a look back at just some of our class of 2021 graduates.
Hello, class of 2021. Congratulations to you, your family, and your friends on your graduation from UCR's School of Public Policy. This is a momentous achievement given the unprecedented disruption that you've experienced over this past year. Your success underscores your ability to continue to strive during very difficult circumstances, and we are so very proud of you.
Congratulations to the class of 2021 for enduring and succeeding in this most challenging academic year and a half. This experience has made you very well prepared to tackle the now unforeseeable public policy issues and debates that will no doubt arise in your very promising careers. I wish you the very best in your futures.
Congratulations to our recent grads. We are very proud of you. Our class of 2021 graduates now join our ever-growing UCR School of Public Policy Alumni Network. Our alumni have gone to work in various roles in the public sector, non-profit organizations, and for-profit organizations. The future looks bright for all of our public policy graduates. Now, let's go over some of the ways that our school has fostered the professional growth of our current students through various student success initiatives and programs this past year. In fall 2020, the UCR School of Public Policy partnered with the County of Riverside on a report for the Board of Supervisors on issues raised by community members at listening sessions throughout the fall. A group of graduate and undergraduate UCR public policy students attended the community sessions to catalog county residents' views on the COVID-19 pandemic, the economic recession, climate change, systemic racism, criminal justice reform, and other pressing issues. They worked closely with Dean Zialalakar and consulted with faculty on assessing the economic and social impact of the COVID-19 crisis on the county. The students' work culminated in a presentation to the board where they provided recommendations on next steps. Thank you to the County of Riverside Board of Supervisors and Executive Office for allowing our students an opportunity to be involved in and contribute to a discussion of important policy issues affecting our very own region. Now, let's take a closer look at one of our own student success programs, the Peer Academic Advisor Program.
A peer academic advisor is more than an advisor. There are students who help other students through advising, workshops, and navigating various resources.
As peer academic advisors, we are student staff members that assist the student affairs team in providing public policy students with accurate academic advising.
What distinguishes the School of Public Policy's Peer Academic Advisor program is that it is the only program at UC Riverside to have student advisors. Students often shy away from meeting with a regular advisor, but this is not the case with a peer academic advisor. It is the relationship that is created between student and student that they often feel engaged and comfortable when talking to a peer, which has been the root of the program's success.
During the past year, the peer academic advisors have contributed to the success of UCR public policy students by turning our program completely virtual. As a team, we have successfully provided our students with virtual academic advising sessions, public speaking and professional development workshops, and even created a virtual student network to connect our community during this remote setting.
Many students often share not feeling connected to one another or not being provided the adequate resources, which was not the case for the peer academic advisors, who strived each day to make students feel interconnected with the School of Public Policy.
As students ourselves, we understand the unique experiences that our fellow students are going through on a daily basis. Therefore, as peer academic advisors, we try our best to apply our own personal experiences to shape how we help our fellow students.
As a peer academic advisor, my most rewarding experience has been getting to know all of our future policy leaders. I get to know students on a personal level, often sharing their goals and aspirations, which has really been rewarding knowing that the UCR School of Public Policy is empowering these amazing students.
This program has allowed me to expand what I believe was the college experience. Meeting and listening to the amazing stories of public policy students and playing a part in their success has been the honor of my undergraduate experience. I cannot wait to meet and interact with more students in the coming year.
Great work to our peer advisors. We are very grateful for everything that you have done for the UCR School of Public Policy. Now, next up, let's learn more about our Dean's Ambassador Program.
The Dean's Ambassador Program was established in 2014 as an initiative involving high-performing students centered around cultivating the SPP's brand profile.
Dean's Ambassadors focus heavily on external relationships with government officials, prospective donors, special guests, strategic partners, and the media.
It's a terrific opportunity for public policy students like me interested in getting experience in public affairs and community engagement.
And because we represent the Dean's administration, we get a taste of how it would feel like to serve as a policy implementer in the executive branch, pretty much like how U.S. ambassadors serve in the President's cabinet.
The pandemic posed some significant challenges to students all around. But as Dean's Ambassadors, we utilized it as an opportunity to refine some of our own processes. We transitioned to virtual engagement efforts, mainly through webinars and our new podcast series, all of which were led by our students.
As a Dean's Ambassador, I had the opportunity to put together an end-of-year online policy debate focused on whether the federal government can mandate COVID-19 vaccinations. It was a challenging but rewarding experience, and it was great being able to involve our external community. We had Ms. Kim Sarwatari, the Director of Public Health at the County of Riverside, as a guest judge.
Policy Chats is an incredible source of information for both students and our external community members. With topics that range from Black Lives Matter to anti-Asian hate and the 2020 election to the coronavirus, Policy Chats allows our audience to learn from policy experts discussing potential solutions to important challenges facing society. Just recently, California's first female lieutenant governor, Eleni Kounalakis, joined us to chat about her career in public service. For this reason and so many more, I cannot wait to see what the future holds for the UCR School of Public Policy.
Moving forward here, as my classmate Maddie mentioned, the podcast series is run by our own public policy students in the Dean's Ambassador program with bi-weekly episodes during the academic school year. These students do the work of reaching out to guest speakers, conducting interviews, editing, and promoting each episode. This past year, our podcast Policy Chats entered its second season, and our student ambassadors produced a total of 21 episodes. The podcast has seen a total of over 3,000 plays this year. Our listenership extends beyond our state to Ohio, Illinois, Washington, Texas, Virginia, New Jersey, and others. We are also growing our listenership to other countries such as Germany, Italy, Canada, and India. Thank you to all our student ambassadors for their efforts this past year. Not only that, but our school hosts various events such as the School of Public Policy Seminar Series, the Water Seminar Series, and our Research Centers events. All of these offer invaluable opportunities for our public policy students to learn firsthand from policymakers, practitioners, and researchers. Despite us going to a fully virtual format, we saw an increase in our number of our events from 97 for the 2019 to 2020 school year to 109 for the 2020 to 2021 school year. Our speakers this year were 64% female and 52% BIPOC. On the screen here, you can also see a sampling of the events we put on together this past year, which included events focused on social justice, the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2020 election, and various environmental issues. Our deans, ambassadors, and peer advisors, as you heard from the previous videos, hosted a great number of events on behalf of our school. With the help of the school, they learned to put together events and then had the opportunity to engage directly with policy experts at these events. Our own peer advisors hosted various workshops for students on personal branding and persuasive speaking, among others, as well as panels on various career paths our public policy students could also undertake. Our ambassadors hosted external-facing seminars on education equity in California, COVID-19's impact on detention centers, as well as gender equity and policy. And for the first time ever, we hosted successful watch parties for the UCR community, including one for the last presidential debate and another for election night with 7 hours of coverage provided by our own ambassadors. And lastly, we had a presidential inauguration watch party in coordination with the UMass Amherst School of Public Policy. We have also partnered with the Associated Students of UCR and our school student senators on various events throughout the year, such as the City of Riverside mayoral candidates and California Propositions Forum. And lastly, we continued our quarterly student spotlight series, which allows our very own graduate and undergraduate public policy students the opportunity to speak in a seminar format about their research, advocacy, work, or involvement in the community to an external audience. Thank you to all of our students for your hard work. It is now at this point that I'm delighted to bring up two of my fellow classmates who will talk about a couple of new and exciting student success programs that we started this past year at the UCR School of Public Policy. Vivek Kakar is the founding executive director of the Roosevelt Network chapter at UCR. And Sana Joffrey is the founding editor-in-chief of Concilium, the UCR School of Public Policy's undergraduate policy research journal. Vivek and Sana.
Thanks, Joanna. Before I start, I'd like to thank Dean Dialalakar for the opportunity to share a little bit about the Roosevelt Network with this strong community that has surrounded the School of Public Policy since its inception. As Joanna mentioned, my name is Vivek Kakar, and I'm the executive director of the first ever chapter of the Roosevelt Network here at UC Riverside. The Roosevelt Network is the premier undergraduate student organization that focuses on empowering student voices in policy discussions that they have historically been left out of. At the Roosevelt Network, we're proud to empower by providing the education and tools necessary to take part in key policy discussions about our future. This goal finds a warm home here at the UCR School of Public Policy, where the drive for better policy solutions are shared. UC Riverside is proud to join the West region of the network and joins the likes of USC and the University of Washington, Seattle. I'm also proud to share that our chapter has been leading the effort to establish a UC coalition within the Roosevelt Network to continue the great policy work that happens here at the SPP and at our sister schools at UCLA and UC Berkeley. In fact, following this national program outline of policy creation, we've already published a joint memo with the chapters at UCLA and UC Berkeley in response to the AAPI hate crimes we witnessed increasing in our community back in March of this year. It's available now on our website. We plan on having more members follow this outline and building policy pieces that they can publish in the coming year. So far, we have had 3 general meetings and have had up to 30 members sign up at launch. And we've released that joint chapter report that we just showed off on the last slide. And so far, we've also represented the UCR school and students at the Roosevelt West Region Conference held virtually this year. And we hosted an alumni panel with SPP Advising and the UCLA Roosevelt chapter. Next year, we hope to continue this progress and the momentum to create a larger network presence on our campus and to empower our students in their policy discussions and education journeys.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm Sana. I'm the founding editor-in-chief of Concilium. Like Vivek did, I also want to extend my thanks and just gratitude to Dean Dialalakar and the School of Public Policy. The work we've been able to do would be impossible without that support. So jumping straight into it, like Vivek mentioned, we want to be able to just give a platform to students, and we want to arm students with the necessary tools to do so. That would be through Concilium. So we started talking a little bit about the program outline here, but before we do that, a little bit of background. Concilium is a brand new undergraduate policy journal that will be run through the UCR School of Public Policy and the Roosevelt Network. Concilium roughly translates to policy, debate, and discussion, and we feel that this journal will provide students with an opportunity to present bold new solutions to problems in the region and beyond. As of this fall, we will be officially up and running with full info sessions, workshops, and submission opportunities. Throughout this writing process, all students will have access to peer review opportunities and to our fully staffed editorial board. Students will be able to attend these workshops, build their policy idea, work through this review process, and have an opportunity to publish through Concilium and a potential opportunity to publish in the national level Roosevelt 10 Ideas Journal. Overall, we feel that this is a really great opportunity for students to build up important research and writing skills, engage in networking and professional development in a publishing environment, and just an opportunity to get published at the local and national level. We're really excited to just see this opportunity through for students. Thank you so much.
And so just to wrap up here, the Roosevelt Network is a student-run policy think tank focused on research, advocacy, and discussion of various policy issues. The hope here is to create sustainable change by educating and empowering youth voices who have been historically denied political power. You can find more on our website, roosevelt.ucr.edu, and you can stay connected with us on our social media available now on the screen. Thank you so much.
Now that we've seen what our students have been up to this past year, let's switch gears and take an in-depth look at the state of our faculty. First, let's go into what makes our faculty so distinct. Although the UCR School of Public Policy is the smallest school on campus with only 19 professors, it has an incredibly accomplished faculty. We have one professor elected as Fellow of the National Academy of Medicine. We have 3 professors elected as Fellows of the American Association for the Advancement of Science. We have 3 professors holding the rank of Distinguished Professor, the highest rank that can be attained by a UC faculty member. And we have an average Google Scholar citation count of 9,500 per faculty. Even with just 19 faculty at the School of Public Policy, we have raised a total of $7 million in research contracts and grants. For 2021, we saw an increase over the past few years in the number of our faculty's federal, private, and state or local government contracts and grants. We went from 34 total in 2018-19 to 60 this past year. Here's just a sampling of the types of research our faculty is conducting. Professor Cecilia Ion received a William T. Grant Foundation grant for her work on sanctuary city policy and reducing inequalities by immigrant origin status in Latin children's birth and mental health. Professor Sergio Rey received a Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation grant for researching how spatial data science could be used to improve our understanding of the connections between public school outcomes and neighborhood dynamics, and to inform how to best support schools serving Black, Latino, and low-income students. Professor Ching Fong Huang received a National Science Foundation Rapid Award to study how the COVID-19 pandemic has impacted small businesses in the inland region. Professors Kurt Schwabe and Mehdi Nunmati received grants from the Western Municipal Water District, Eastern Municipal Water District, Harupa Community Services District, and Elsinore Valley Municipal Water District to study the determinants of water bill delinquency and service disconnections, and to raise understanding of water quality perceptions and implications. Professor Sharon Oslin is researching prison to employment solutions for Riverside and San Bernardino County, thanks to a grant from the Haynes Foundation. And Professor Karthik Ramakrishnan is doing research on leveraging 2020 census outreach coalitions to advance inclusion and equity as part of a Blue Shield of California Research Education Foundation grant. A hearty congratulations to all of our faculty on obtaining these incredible grants. We look forward to what your research will contribute to public policy discussions in the near future. Our faculty this year also was prolific in publishing, with 74 scholarly articles in journals such as the Journal of Educational Behavioral Statistics, Journal of Community Psychology, the British Journal of Political Science, Environmental Science and Technology, and the Russell Sage Foundation Journal of Social Sciences, to name just a few. Congratulations again to all of our published faculty this past year. And congratulations as well to Professor Ariel Dinar for the publication this past year of his new book, Economics of Water Resources, a Comprehensive Approach, as well as our own Professor Karthik Ramakrishnan for his book, Citizenship Reimagined, a New Framework for State Rights in the United States. Our faculty members have also been in various news outlets this past year, including Politico, the Los Angeles Times, the Washington Post, NBC News, and the New York Times, just to name a few. Now let's take a look at some of our faculty in the news. Congratulations to Professor Xingfang Wang, who, as you saw at the end of the video, won the prestigious 2021 American Association of Geographers Kauffman Award for the best paper in geography and entrepreneurship. Now, let's move on to a message from Dr. Kurt Schwabe, the Associate Dean of the UC Riverside School of Public Policy.
As a professor of environmental economics and policy, my research focuses on exploring pressing and policy relevant issues surrounding the environment and natural resources. More recently, and with a multidisciplinary team of researchers and students, I've been exploring the role of drought and climate change on environmental, agricultural, and urban systems, with a particular focus towards water scarcity, water conservation, water quality, and water affordability. As Associate Dean, I oversee faculty teaching, faculty advancement, course scheduling, and delivery for both the undergraduate and graduate programs. While it's been a really challenging year for our students this past year, it's rewarding to see how our faculty have stepped up to help students through these difficult times, both in giving as well as in their course modifications that recognize the challenges our students are confronting. In addition to teaching, our school and faculty have been on the forefront of addressing the rising challenges confronting society and policymakers today in multiple areas, including the areas of health and health disparities, the environment, drought and climate change, poverty, the criminal justice system and policing, race, inequality, and voting rights. Albert Einstein once said, "In the middle of difficulty lies opportunity." I believe what I've witnessed over the past year and a half in the midst of all the difficulty our region and the country has been confronting is an amazing group of students and faculty creating opportunities to improve the world we live in, with particular attention towards fairness, equity, and justice. The faculty, students, and staff that we have assembled in this program have helped it become a world-class and world-renowned school. I look forward to being a part of it and its success in helping improve society and livelihoods throughout the world in the years to come.
The UC Riverside School of Public Policy is also home to 4 research centers and initiatives headed by our faculty. The accomplishments of these centers are too numerous to mention today, but we do want to briefly point out the broad range of research projects our centers were engaged in this year. The Blum Initiative for Global and Regional Poverty, headed by Professor David Brady, expanded a survey of California state legislators to the Texas legislature, which will be a great point of comparison across the United States. This also creates research training opportunities for 2 to 3 MPP students. The Center for Social Innovation, headed by Professor Karthik Ramakrishnan, convened the Census Legacies Project, which is a network of funders, nonprofits, businesses, governments, agencies, and researchers from around the country. The goal is to repurpose the census outreach tables and ensure that historically undercounted communities have an equal voice in shaping the future of our regions. The Inland Center for Sustainable Development, which is headed by Professor Xingfang Wang, alongside Mr. Rick Bishop, brought together 25 leaders from the county, city, municipal agencies, and private sectors to tackle the inland region's housing issues. The research findings and policy recommendations were published through 6 issue briefs, 4 reports, and a final annual report. And lastly, the Robert Presley Center of Crime and Justice Studies, headed by Professor Sharon Oslin, began a project to evaluate the efficacy of the Prison to Employment statewide initiative with a generous grant from the California Workforce Development Board. In addition, the center awarded the inaugural Presley Student Scholarship to 3 justice-impacted students from the endowment that was created with the generous community support. Thank you to our affiliated research centers and initiatives for all your work in the region and beyond this past year. On the screen, you will find links to our centers and initiatives to learn more about them. At this point, I'd like to introduce Dr. Richard Carpiano, a professor of public policy at the UC Riverside School of Public Policy. Professor Carpiano is a public and population health scientist and medical sociologist who studies how social factors such as socioeconomic status, race, ethnicity, social connections, and community connections contribute to the physical and mental health of adults and children. Professor Carpiano believes strongly in the importance of public outreach to help inform non-academic audiences regarding research findings and pressing public issues. Earlier in the SPP faculty news video montage, you may have noted the numerous times he was featured in various news outlets. He engages extensively with national and international news media on a wide range of public health and sociological topics. Most recently, he has provided commentary on a variety of issues related to the COVID-19 pandemic, including health disparities in cases and deaths, anti-COVID-19 activism and misinformation, public communication, uptake of vaccines, sociological impacts, and response policies. We are excited to have him present today. Professor Carpiano, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for that really nice introduction, Lloyd. I'm so honored to be asked to be part of this inaugural event. As a public health and population scientist and a sociologist in a public policy school, it's been astounding for me to reflect on how the COVID pandemic has presented so many new, pressing, and very concerning issues to contend with on a seemingly weekly basis, from sheltering in place orders to vaccine passports and everything else that's come in between over more than a year now. With those developments, doing strong, impactful research is not enough. There's come a very strong need for public engagement, as the videos before really highlighted. It's an activity that has comprised a significant portion of my work week over the past year via print and TV news interviews, podcasts, public audience panels, policy advisory group panels, and public versus my usual academic audience writing. Those aren't the usual activities that the Academy has previously had the reputation for doing, or that many universities even value professors doing. But they're ones that I believe, and many others, as well as our school, that they're essential for public benefit. And they are, and it's activity that's highly promoted and valued within SPP. In my short time today, I'd like to offer 3 examples from my own work of how the pandemic has highlighted the importance of SPP faculty and students translating and communicating existing knowledge for the benefit of the public, as well as decision makers on complicated and significant public health challenges that we've faced this year and will very much so in the years ahead. These examples are specific to my own expertise, but they highlight a key element of UCR SPP's mission of offering solutions for the region and the world via research and engagement. So having spent my career studying socioeconomic and racial ethnic inequities in health, it was really sadly and tragically no surprise that we'd see similar impacts on so many outcomes during COVID in terms of cases, hospitalizations, deaths, and now vaccinations, as well as so many social and economic outcomes. At the start of the pandemic, with my co-authors Elaine Hernandez and Courtney Bowen, we aimed to provide insights on social and public health policies to help mitigate those impacts. And to date, so much of my engagement really centers on the issues to address COVID-related inequities in health. Most recently, policies regarding issues of access and protection regarding vaccinations, and even most recently, vaccine passports and mandates. Second, having studied the anti-vaccine movement in years prior to COVID, the emergence of the anti-public health social movements, something we probably wouldn't have considered all that frequently in years before, just over this past year, as witnessed with the anti-lockdown protests last year, and now evolving into broader anti-government coalitions observed during the DC Capitol insurrection, for example, and its aftermath in our region, our state, and our nation has been really quite a concerning problem. Fortunately, there's many lessons that me and my colleagues have learned about tactics used by anti-vaccine movements that have been helpful in informing ways to understand and counter their new expanding activities for advancing what we're now seeing as being very harmful policy agendas, whether they're related to issues around pushing policies that are, for example, not very well substantiated related to science, or even just might be targeting public health professionals and using harassment and intimidation as a sorts of ways to affect change and affect policy outcomes in rather unsettling sorts of ways. These are issues that we will have to be contending with in the years ahead. And fortunately, this research has been, well, this issue has now expanded and become more complex. Issues that we've been able to identify early on related to the anti-vaccine movement really seem to have a lot of benefit for trying to understand this new manifestation. Finally, having studied vaccine hesitancy and anti-vaccine activism for several years, the extent of such misinformation and disinformation during the pandemic has showcased its expansion as a significant 21st century public health threat. The insights gained from studying vaccines have been helpful, but during COVID-19, my work has expanded to focus on communication by the public health community more broadly, and even the concerning and at times even undermining influence of media influencers now in the 21st century mediascape, who are offering their hot takes or their quick assessments as the market kind of dictates now for any sort of newly emerging problems, even regardless of whether they're experts or have any sort of real background on the topic, but yet nevertheless have some sort of audience or influence upon public thinking about these issues. So in sum, this is more than just benefit. This type of engagement activity is more than just benefit for decision makers. It's benefits for the public in terms of understanding the complex issues and problems that are facing our nation. And these are incredibly complex issues. They're not easy to be able to be boiled down into simple sorts of talking points. There's benefits for training tomorrow's policy professionals, our students, imparting foundational skills that I've learned now from this type of engagement work that are essential for tackling quickly emerging issues, as we see almost on a weekly sort of basis, as well as there's benefits for advancing impactful and policy relevant research that decision makers need. So with that, I want to thank you very much for the opportunity to highlight this and to be the faculty member of just such a great team of faculty to be able to do this with you today. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Carpiano. Thanks for providing us with such impactful and policy relevant research. It is at this time that we'll now move on to the state of our fundraising efforts at the UCR School of Public Policy. As many of you may know, the UCR Living the Promise campaign ended in 2020. UCR as a whole raised more than $312 million, and the UCR School of Public Policy began the campaign in 2013 with a $4 million goal. We have far exceeded that goal and raised a grand total of more than $7 million by the end of the campaign. Looking at the past 3 years in terms of fundraising, we went from over $530,000 raised for the 2018 to 2019 school year to more than $2 million raised as of June 15th this year. Thank you to all of our supporters for your continuing support. As you all may know, this past year, the COVID-19 pandemic greatly affected many of our students. One of our public policy majors who just graduated in June, Andrea Reyes, bravely shared her story with us during a live Giving Tuesday event in December, as well as through this video, which we will now play for you.
My family members and I lost our jobs because of the lockdown, and things got worse when I got sick from COVID-19. I had an excruciating headache and felt very fatigued. Well, it got so bad that I even considered dropping out of school. But luckily, the UCR School of Public Policy was there to help me with its Emergency Student Support Fund. Because of the school's help, I was able to make ends meet by paying bills and buying groceries. But there are so many more students who are still in need of assistance. In the spirit of giving, please consider contributing to the Student Emergency Support Fund at the UCR School of Public Policy. Thank you for your support of students like me.
The school raised funds throughout the past year to support public policy students with essential needs, including emergency housing, food, and financial assistance for health-related matters as a direct result of the COVID-19 crisis. Through the generosity of various benefactors, we received a total of 97 gifts amounting to over $20,000. We were then able to support 77 of our own public policy students in need, totaling nearly $22,000 in awards. Thank you to all of you who helped our public policy students during such challenging times. Now, on another note, in October 2020, Dr. Derek Brinkerhoff, a UCR alumnus, and his wife, Dr. Jennifer Brinkerhoff, established an endowed scholarship fund at the UCR School of Public Policy through their estate. This new fund was designed to encourage and provide financial support for UCR public policy students who are looking to participate in the University of California, Washington Center program, also known as UCDC, and ultimately help our students launch future careers in public service. Let's watch a video on why the Brinkerhoff decided to establish this scholarship.
I have a long connection to UCR. I ended up getting both my BA and my master's degrees from UCR, and over the years I've seen the campus grow and expand in exciting ways. I was delighted to see the creation of the School of Public Policy. This is the field I've made my career in international development.
I'm a native Californian, and I'm also first generation US born and college educated. My success story started with my education through the University of California. We're supporting a scholarship for the UCDC program because we want to ensure that the students in the School of Public Policy have an opportunity to learn about policy in our nation's capital. Gaining this exposure can open their world to possibilities and make them more effective wherever they choose to serve.
We strongly believe that the future of the United States depends upon enabling the contributions of all citizens. And this is why we give to UCR, and we hope that you will too.
And this is what living the promise means to us.
Thank you to Dr. Derek Brinkerhoff and Dr. Jennifer Brinkerhoff for this transformative gift that will greatly benefit public policy students like myself for years to come. Now we have completed our retrospective on the past year at the UCR School of Public Policy. Now let's go ahead and look ahead and see what the next year has in store for us. The UCR School of Public Policy is proud to announce the launch in fall 2022 of a new combined BA MPP program. With this new program, the UCR School of Public Policy will now have the distinction of having the only BA MPP program exclusively within a public policy school in the entire UC system. This program is open to current public policy students seeking to complete both their undergraduate and graduate degrees at UCR within 5 years instead of the standard 6. For more information, we invite you to visit sppstudents.ucr.edu/ba.mpp. As we look further ahead, we'll also be looking into potentially creating an executive MPP program, a GIS minor, a global health minor, and an MPA program. But more to come on those in the next few years.
We are also excited to announce the inaugural Policy Innovator Awards ceremony in the fall of 2021. This special virtual event, which will be held on Friday, September 30th, will honor Randall Lewis, the Executive Vice President of Marketing for the Lewis Group of Companies, as the recipient of the 2021 Policy Innovator Award. We will also honor Jesse Melgar, former Communications Director for Governor Gavin Newsom, and an inaugural UCR MPP graduate. We'll honor him with the 2021 Emerging Policy Leader Award. I hope you'll join me at this special event that not only recognizes the achievements of policy leaders who have made an impact on our region, but also generates support for the UC Riverside School of Public Policy students and future policy leaders. For more information, please visit us at policyinnovator.ucr.edu.
And finally, the biggest change from this past year will certainly be our faculty and students return to campus in fall 2021. After a year of remote learning and all the challenges that have accompanied that, I'm sure that our public policy students are relieved to hear that 80% of classes at UCR will be taught in person. We at the UCR School of Public Policy look forward to seeing you all back this fall while adhering to health and safety standards dictated by the university. To learn more about UCR's policies on a safe return to campus, please visit campusreturn.ucr.edu. We have reached the conclusion of today's event. I'd like to thank former Assembly Member Lloyd Levine for taking the time out of his busy schedule to join us for this special event.
It's been my pleasure to serve as your co-host today and be with everyone. It was a fantastic day. I loved hearing all of the updates for the past year and look forward to coming back next year.
Thank you. And thank you as well to the student senators from the Associated Students of UCR who served this past year, Nava Majalesi and Zara Ali, as well as to the incoming Senator Arlette Flores Aparicio, for all of your hard work in making our school better. This past year, the SPP held regular town halls to solicit feedback from our own students, and we could not have done it without our own senators' help. And now, a special thanks to our crew working behind the scenes, including our Chief Student Ambassadors, Maddie Bunting and Kevin Karami, as well as the staff and students in our marketing, communications, and events team, who this past year received the Bronze Medal for Communications Pivot during the COVID-19 pandemic at the Case District 7 Awards. And lastly, thank you to all of our audience members for joining us today. We invite you to learn more about the UCR School of Public Policy by visiting spp.ucr.edu. We look forward to continuing to engage with you all in the future. Until next time, goodbye.